The strange nights begin. The twin moons of Erythra 5 hung quietly over the human colony, their silver light washing the metal buildings and red sand streets in an otherworldly glow. Alex Carter walked home from the terraforming station after a long shift, his boots crunching against the dust that shimmered under the cold light. He liked nights like these, calm and silent, when the hum of machines blended with the distant wind. But peace rarely lasted long on alien worlds. Across the narrow corridor from his apartment, a new resident had moved in 3 days ago. Her name was Lyra, a woman from the Cathari species, tall, graceful, and strange even by interstellar standards. Her skin carried a soft violet tone, almost translucent, and her eyes looked alive with faint golden rings that pulsed when she spoke. The Cathari rarely mixed with humans. They were private, proud, and deeply biological creatures, ruled by ancient instincts even the science of 100 colonies could not fully understand. At first, Alex thought nothing of it. She greeted him once, politely, with a voice that felt like music vibrating through air rather than sound. Then she disappeared into her quarters and stayed there most of the time. But 3 nights later, everything began to feel wrong. It started with a faint vibration through the walls. He thought it was power fluctuation from the colony grid, but the rhythm was irregular, almost like a heartbeat. Then came the hum, low and deep, echoing faintly through metal corridors. When Alex went to the window, he noticed soft pink light glowing behind Lyra's door, pulsing in slow waves. The next morning he saw her outside, standing under the twin suns, her skin glimmering faintly. She looked tired but somehow powerful, as if something inside her burned too bright. "Rough night?" he asked, trying to sound casual. Her eyes flickered red for a moment, and she whispered, "You should stay inside at night, human." Before he could answer, she turned away, disappearing into her room. That night, the hum returned, stronger. Alex could feel it in his chest, like another heartbeat inside his body. He tried to ignore it, turned on his calm music, but even the melody seemed to bend under that strange sound. Finally, curiosity took him over. He stepped out, walking quietly toward her door. A faint mist rolled out from the crack below it, glowing slightly in the dim light. He could smell something sweet and electric, like ozone mixed with perfume. His instincts screamed to stay back, but he pushed the door gently. It slid open with a whisper. The room was filled with soft floating light, strands of color dancing in the air like silk in water. In the center stood Lyra, her body surrounded by a halo of shimmering energy. Her eyes glowed golden and crimson together, her breathing slow and deliberate. Symbols of light moved across her skin, pulsing with the same rhythm as the hum that shook the floor. When she spoke, her voice carried power. "You should not be here, Alex," she said, trembling. "My season has begun." He frowned, confused. "Your season?" She closed her eyes, pain flashing across her face. "My people call it the binding cycle. Once every 7 years our bodies change. It is how we live, how we choose." Her voice faltered. The air around her flickered. Alex felt pressure in his head, like static building. He stumbled back, clutching the doorway. "Are you in danger? Do you need help?" "No," she whispered, "but you will be if you stay." A burst of energy erupted from her hands, striking the wall behind her, leaving molten marks across the metal. Alarms blared in the corridor, emergency lights flashing red. Alex fell to the floor, shielding his face as the air burned with electric scent. Through the chaos, he saw her kneeling, clutching her chest, her voice breaking. "I cannot stop it. Please go." He crawled backward, the door shutting automatically behind him. The vibration intensified, shaking the entire structure. Windows cracked, lights flickered, and the energy meter on his wrist console spiked beyond safe levels. He ran to the control panel and sent a quick distress signal to the colony center. "Technician Carter, Sector 4B, we have an energy anomaly. Possible reactor breach." Static cut the message short. His screen went black. He looked up through the small window. Lyra's room was now glowing like a star. colors shifting wildly, red, pink, white, and gold. And then, just as suddenly as it began, silence returned. The hum faded, the glow vanished, the alarms went still. Alex stood there breathing hard, staring at her door, unsure if he had imagined it all. A moment later, the door opened slowly. Lyra stepped out, her glow gone, her eyes dim, her body weak. She looked at him with exhaustion and sorrow. "This is only the first night," she whispered. "Stay away from me when the moons rise again." He wanted to ask questions, but her expression stopped him. Then she walked past him, her steps unsteady, her shadow stretching long under the flickering corridor light. Alex watched her go, feeling both fear and something else, curiosity mixed with empathy. Whatever had begun inside her room was not over, and deep down, he knew he was already too close to turn away. The strange nights had just begun. The fever spreads. The next morning came quietly, but Erythra 5 did not feel the same. The air seemed heavier, filled with a faint static that prickled against the skin. Alex woke up drenched in sweat, though the temperature inside his unit was set to cold. He tried to shake off the uneasy feeling, convincing himself it was only exhaustion. But deep down, he knew something had changed. When he stepped outside, he saw the corridor lights flicker once again. Neighbors whispered in confusion, complaining about power surges and strange noises at night. Yet no one mentioned Lyra, as if their minds refused to focus on her. Alex noticed that detail, a subtle silence around her name, and it made him uneasy. He walked past her door, hesitating for a moment. There was no light behind it, no sound, no hum, only an unnatural stillness. He raised his hand to knock, then stopped himself. The memory of last night, the light, the voice, the scream, flashed through his head. He left for work, but focus was impossible. At the terraforming control center, screens kept showing energy fluctuations from Sector 4B, his residential area. Every reading pointed to the same coordinates. The colony director, Commander Reeves, frowned at the data. "These spikes look biological," he muttered. "Not mechanical." Alex swallowed, pretending to be surprised. He didn't want to mention Lyra yet, not until he understood what was happening. At noon, Reeves ordered a scan drone to inspect the area. Alex volunteered to guide it, a mistake his gut told him not to make. When he returned to the sector with the small hovering drone, the corridor was empty. He unlocked his unit and sent the drone forward toward Lyra's door. The metal panel looked scorched around the edges. Faint patterns burned into it like alien symbols. As the drone floated closer, the air shimmered again. Its sensors flickered, its lens fogging over with a thin mist. Then the door slid open by itself. A rush of warm air poured out, filled with that same sweet scent he remembered. The drone's lights turned pink for a moment, interference from something biological, before its feed went dark. Drone signal lost. The device chirped weakly. Alex cursed under his breath, leaning toward the doorway. Inside, he saw her again. Lyra sat on the floor, surrounded by floating spheres of light. Her hands pressed to her head, her breathing heavy. Her skin glowed brighter than before, and the symbols across her body pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She looked up slowly, her golden eyes soft but burning with intensity. "You shouldn't have come," she said quietly. "I was worried," Alex replied, taking a careful step forward. "You don't understand what this is," she whispered. "My cycle has reached the second phase. It spreads through energy fields, through thought, even sound." Her gaze flicked toward the broken drone. "You've already been touched by it." He frowned. "Touched? What do you mean?" Lyra closed her eyes, trembling. "Our instincts don't stop at our bodies. They reach minds around us. Humans are too receptive, too unprotected." She drew a shaky breath. "You feel it already, don't you?" Alex hesitated, realizing she was right. He could feel warmth inside his chest, a pull toward her, a strange connection that made his pulse sync with the faint hum in the room. He took another step forward before forcing himself to stop. "What do you want me to do?" he asked, his voice low. "Leave," she said, before it spreads deeper. But the moment she said it, the lights around her burst outward, filling the room with shimmering dust. He shielded his face, coughing as the air grew thick with glowing particles. When he looked again, she was standing, her expression torn between agony and fear. "It's happening faster than I thought," she gasped. Then the floor shook and the colony alarms began to wail. Alex grabbed her arm instinctively, trying to pull her toward the exit. The contact sent a shock through both of them, a flash of light so bright it blinded him for a second. He heard her scream again, but this time it wasn't pain. It was instinct, pure and wild. Her voice echoed in his mind, not his ears. "You've linked with me now." The lights outside flickered violently, and the emergency doors sealed shut. He stumbled back, heart racing, his vision filled with strange colors that weren't really there. The hum returned, stronger, deeper, spreading through every wall of the building. He heard people shouting in distant corridors as the energy field expanded. Everything smelled of ozone and burning air. Through the haze, Lyra looked at him, tears streaming down her cheeks that shimmered like liquid crystal. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "Your mind, it matched mine." Alex didn't understand. His thoughts felt tangled. "What does that mean?" he asked, his voice barely steady. She stepped closer, touching her forehead to his, her energy vibrating through him. "It means you are part of it now," she said softly. "And if I lose control, you die with me." The hum reached a final, deafening pitch, then silence again, total and heavy. Alex opened his eyes. They glowed faint gold for a second, the same as hers. Outside, the colony sensors began reporting unknown radiation levels spreading from their block, and somewhere far in orbit, the main control ship detected the signal and sent a message back to Earth. "Possible cross-species energy event detected. Investigation required." But by then, it was already too late. The fever had begun to spread, and humanity was now part of it, the link between worlds. When Alex opened his eyes again, everything felt distant, as if the world had been wrapped in thick glass. The colony alarms had stopped, the hum was gone, but inside his chest, something new pulsed, a soft rhythm that didn't belong to him. He sat up slowly, his vision flickering between colors, the walls shifting faintly as if alive. Lyra knelt a few feet away, her hands trembling, her eyes bright with gold fire. "You're awake," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I didn't mean to connect with you." The link happened on instinct. Alex blinked, still dazed. "Link?" She nodded, pressing her palms together. "Your mind is connected to mine now through the resonance field. I can feel your heartbeat, your fear, even your thoughts." He stared at her, unable to believe it. "That's impossible," he muttered. "I'm human." Her expression softened. "That's exactly why it happened." Outside, the corridor lights glowed faint amber, not from power failure, but from her. Every breath she took made the metal flicker. The environment reacting like it was alive. Alex touched the wall. It was warm, pulsing faintly with the same rhythm as his own heart. He pulled back, startled. "What's happening to me?" he asked. "You're adapting," she said quietly. "The Cathari link merges biological systems. You share fragments of energy now, fragments of life." He shook his head, disbelief mixing with fear. I have to report this," he said, reaching for his wrist console. But when he tried to activate it, the device sparked and died. The screen melting into static, Lyra looked away, guilt in her voice. "Technology won't survive near the field. The link distorts everything." Alex clenched his fists, frustration boiling inside him. "Then how do we stop it?" Lyra's voice dropped to a whisper. "We don't stop it, we survive it. Until it fades." She stood, moving to the window, her skin glowing faintly against the glass. "My people call this stage the binding. When instinct chooses a match strong enough to balance the cycle, usually another Cathari." She turned toward him slowly, her eyes glimmering with sorrow. "This has never happened with a human before." Alex stared at her in silence, realizing the weight of her words. He wasn't just involved. He was part of something that could rewrite biology itself. Then he noticed something else. In the reflection on the glass, faint golden lines crawled up his neck like thin veins of light. Moving in rhythm with hers, he took a step back, fear returning. Lyra, this can't happen. I'll die if this continues. Her gaze softened. If I lose control, yes. The air grew tense, the silence between them heavy with unsaid emotion. I won't let that happen, she said firmly. Her voice suddenly strong again, moments later. A loud metallic echo rang through the corridor. Emergency lockdown doors opened. Colony guards entered, wearing biosuits and carrying energy scanners. Sector 4B under quarantine, one of them announced. Both residents step away from the door. Lyra stiffened, her glow dimming. They'll try to separate us, she whispered. They don't understand what will happen if they do. Alex stepped forward, raising his hands. Wait, she's not dangerous. Just listen, but before he could finish, the lead guard aimed a containment pulse at Lyra. The blue wave struck her chest, and she screamed, the room exploding in light. The blast knocked everyone back, alarms shrieking again through the chaos. Alex felt pain that wasn't his, her pain sharp and burning through the shared link. He fell to his knees, clutching his chest, gasping. The guards struggled to regain control, shouting orders. But their scanners overloaded instantly. Electric arcs danced along the floor, and the metal ceiling warped. Lyra looked broken, her glow unstable, her energy surging wildly. Alex, she gasped, if they try again, the field will collapse. He staggered toward her, ignoring the sparks. What do I do? Help me stabilize it, she said. You can feel it too. Focus on my pulse, match it. He closed his eyes, forcing his breathing to sync with hers. Slow, steady, deep. For a moment, the chaos dimmed. The energy slowed. He felt warmth spread through his body. Calm, centered, ancient. When he opened his eyes, the air had turned golden. The guards froze in mid-motion as if time itself hesitated. Then the field pulsed once, like a heartbeat of the planet itself, and everything went still. Lyra collapsed forward, unconscious but alive, her glow fading to a soft silver. Alex caught her before she hit the ground, trembling from exhaustion. He looked around when the corridor was silent. The guards lay stunned but unharmed outside the window. HFY 5's moons burned brighter than ever. Alex whispered softly, "It's over." But deep down he knew it wasn't. Through the faint connection still alive inside his mind, he felt something stirring far away, like a distant whisper from beyond the colony. Not her voice this time, but hundreds of others. Echoing faintly through the void, he turned to the unconscious alien in his arms. "What did you bring here, Lyra?" he murmured. And somewhere beyond the stars, a fleet of Cathari ships changed course, their queen opening her eyes as she felt the forbidden connection reach across light years. "The link has been formed," she whispered, "and it involves a human." The fate of two species had just begun to intertwine, and neither of them could stop what came next. The arrival of the Cathari fleet. The sky over HFY 5 was never still, but that morning it churned with streaks of burning light. The colony's scanners picked up dozens of unknown signatures descending from orbit. Command Reeves shouted across the control room, his voice cutting through the static. "Unregistered vessels, no response to hails. Shields at maximum." Alex Carter heard the announcement through the emergency broadcast echoing through the corridors. He stood beside Lyra's bed in the quarantine ward, watching her chest rise and fall slowly. Silver lines still glowed faintly beneath her skin, each pulse matching the strange rhythm inside his own heart. Ever since the link, he felt everything she felt. The warmth, the pain, even her dreams. And now he could feel something else. A pull from the sky, a song that wasn't human. The door hissed open and two guards stepped in, weapons lowered but hands tense. "Technician Carter, you're being transferred to isolation until further notice," the taller one said. Alex shook his head. "She needs me if you separate us. She could—" "We have orders," the guard cut him off. "This isn't up for discussion." Before they could move, Lyra stirred, her eyes flicking open. Golden fire swirling inside, her voice was weak but sharp. "They're here." The guards froze, confused. "Who's here?" one asked. Lyra sat up slowly, every motion leaving a faint shimmer in the air. "My people," she whispered. "The Cathari fleet has come for me." A low rumble vibrated through the ground, shaking dust from the ceiling outside. Streaks of red light cut across the sky, ships descending like falling stars. Reeves's voice crackled again over the colony network. "All units stand by. Alien contact inbound." The guards stepped back instinctively. Weapons rising, Alex moved between them and Lyra, his tone steady but urgent. "Don't shoot. She's not your enemy. but even he could feel the tension crawling through the air. The colony's atmosphere itself seemed alive with energy. Moments later, the roof of the facility shimmered blue as a massive shadow passed overhead. Through the window, Alex saw the impossible, a ship unlike anything human technology could build. It was alive, its surface flowing like liquid metal, shifting colors between silver and deep crimson. Dozens of smaller vessels orbited around it in perfect silence. Lyra stood unsteadily, her gaze distant, her voice trembling. "They're not here to destroy. They've come to reclaim what they believe was stolen." Alex frowned. "You?" She nodded slowly. "The link between us is forbidden. The High Council will end it, even if they must end you to do it." The colony alarm screamed again, this time deeper, colder. Outside, blue energy spirals formed above the landing fields, teleportation columns. Figures stepped through, tall, elegant, their forms glowing faint violet under the alien sky. Each carried a staff that hummed with restrained power. At their center stood one taller than the rest, her armor glimmering with gold veins, her eyes radiant with authority. "Queen Serath," Lyra whispered, lowering her head. Alex felt her heartbeat race through the link. The Queen's voice carried effortlessly across the open channel, smooth and echoing like thunder through glass. "My child, you broke the sacred bond of the Ketheri. You linked with a human." The words struck like lightning. Alex stepped forward, his voice tight. "She didn't choose it. It happened by accident." The Queen turned her gaze toward him, and her eyes piercing. "Ancient. No accident can defy biology written by stars," she said. "When a Kethari links, it is destiny." The crowd of soldiers murmured softly in their tongue. Glowing runes forming in the air as they surrounded the colony. Energy fields rose, isolating the area. Lyra's glow brightened, her tone desperate. "Mother, please, he will die if you sever us now." But the Queen's face showed only calm sorrow. "Then his death will save our species from corruption." Alex felt his chest tighten, pain spreading through his body like fire. The link pulsed violently. The rhythm breaking apart, he fell to his knees. Clutching his chest, Lyra screamed, her hands reaching out as her power exploded in waves of light. Every screen in the colony went dark. Every sensor melted. The entire valley glowed golden as two life forces collided. Queen Serath raised her staff, energy swirling at its tip. "Contain her before the merging completes," she ordered. But it was too late. Lyra's power surged outward, merging with Alex's heartbeat, fusing human and Kethari energy into one unstable storm. The ground cracked, metal bent, and the sky turned white. For a heartbeat, time itself stopped through the link. Alex saw visions, worlds dying, stars forming, millions of alien memories flashing through his mind. He saw the truth. The Kethari weren't gods, they were survivors of a dying star system, using their cycles to preserve life through bonding. And now through him, that cycle had found something new. Evolution. When the light faded, silence fell over Erythra 5. Alex stood trembling but alive, his veins still glowing faint gold. Lyra knelt beside him, weak but smiling faintly. The Queen lowered her staff, her expression unreadable. "The link didn't destroy you," she said softly. "It changed you." Alex met her eyes. "Maybe it changed both our kinds. Above them." The great Ketheri ship hovered silently, its living metal shifting into patterns that looked almost like words. Human words. For the first time in history, the two species breathed the same air. But far beyond Erythra 5, deep in the shadows of the galaxy, other civilizations were already watching, and not all of them wanted peace. The connection between human and Kethari had opened a door that could never be closed again, and what stepped through next would decide the fate of the stars. The echo of two hearts. When dawn rose over Erythra 5, the colony looked like a dream broken in half. The ground still smoked from the night's energy surge. Metal walls bent inward as if they had tried to breathe. People walked in silence, their eyes filled with fear and wonder. For the first time, humans had seen power that didn't belong to machines, but to life itself. Alex Carter stood beside Lyra at the edge of the crater that once held the quarantine ward. He could feel the faint pulse of the link between them. Softer now, like two heartbeats trying to find rhythm again. Lyra's hair drifted in the morning wind, streaks of silver and violet glowing against the pale sky. "You're still alive," she whispered. Half surprised, half relieved, he smiled faintly. "Guess humans are harder to kill than your people thought." She turned to face him, sadness in her golden eyes. My mother will never accept this bond. She'll try again to end it. Alex glanced toward the hovering Cathari fleet that filled the horizon like mountains of living metal. They don't scare me anymore, he said quietly. What scares me is what comes after. Far above, the great flagship opened its lower hull, revealing glowing circles that rotated like eyes of a god. Queen Serath's voice rolled across the sky. Calm and absolute, the council has decided. The human shall remain until the link fades, but no further contact will be permitted. Her tone held no cruelty. Only cold certainty. To the Cathari, control meant survival. Alex's wrist console flickered back to life with a human signal from Command Reeves. Carter, report immediately. We're negotiating with them. Don't make sudden moves. He ignored the call. His attention fixed on Lyra. What happens if the link doesn't fade? He asked. Lyra looked away, the wind carrying her soft voice. Then you'll become something neither human nor Cathari. For a long moment, neither spoke. They simply stood there as the sun rose higher, bathing the wrecked colony in golden light. But deep inside the link, something was changing. Alex felt faint whispers, not just from Lyra, but from beyond, echoes of emotion, memory, entire networks of thought. The connection was expanding, spreading quietly through the colony's systems. Later that night, as both species teams worked to repair the damage, a strange phenomenon began. Machines near Alex started syncing with his pulse, responding to his thoughts before he touched them. Screens flickered with images he had never seen, star maps, alien constellations, fragments of language older than either race. He felt warmth in his chest, the echo of two hearts beating as one. Lyra sensed it too, her energy flaring gently. This is evolution, she said softly. Our cycles were never meant to stop at our kind. Alex nodded slowly, realizing the truth. Their bond had created a bridge, a living translation between human instinct and alien resonance, the first hybrid consciousness. But not everyone saw it as hope inside the Cathari flagship. The council argued in their shimmering chamber. This link will infect our species, one elder hissed. Sever it before it spreads. Queen Serath remained silent, watching the planet through the ship's transparent hull. In her mind, a faint echo whispered. Her daughter's fear, her daughter's love, and the human's defiance. She closed her eyes and finally understood. Change had already begun, and no decree could stop it. Back on the surface, Alex felt a sharp pain behind his eyes. The link pulsed violently, colors flashing through his vision. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. Lyra rushed forward, kneeling beside him, her glow rising. What's happening? He gasped. She placed her hand on his chest, feeling the rhythm spike. They're trying to cut the connection from orbit, she whispered. They don't realize they're killing you too. Energy rippled across the valley as the Cathari fleet focused beams toward the ground. The colony's shields flickered, alarms howled. Alex's veins lit gold, spreading light through his arms, his heartbeat echoing like thunder. Lyra pressed both hands against his chest, merging her glow with his. Focus, she whispered. Listen to the link, not the pain. He closed his eyes and reached inward. Inside the storm, he saw Lyra's world. Oceans of crystal, skies of silver clouds, the endless cycle of life and rebirth. He reached further, showing her earth, blue skies, human laughter, fragile but fierce hope. Two worlds met inside the shared vision, colliding yet blending, and then together they pushed back. The energy that burst from them spread like sunlight through darkness. It tore through the control beams, scattering them into the upper atmosphere. The sky turned golden again, waves of resonance spreading outward in orbit. Every Cathari ship froze mid-action as the feedback reached them. Queen Serath stood from her throne, eyes wide, feeling her own pulse match her daughter's. On Erythra 5, silence fell once more. Alex lay on the ground, breathing hard, the glow fading. Lyra knelt beside him, touching his cheek gently. You did it, she whispered. You showed them we can be more. He smiled weakly. We did it. Above them, the fleet no longer shone with anger but with curiosity. The Queen's voice echoed softly through the air once again. Perhaps destiny chose correctly after all. For the first time, humanity and Cathari shared peace, not through treaty or fear, but through heartbeat and understanding. And somewhere in the void, unseen by either race, another presence stirred. Something ancient that had been waiting for this very moment. The echo of two hearts had reached the stars and the universe was listening. The awakening of the void. The calm that followed the storm was not peace. It was the silence before something larger began to breathe. Erythra 5 floated beneath a new sky, its two moons shining faint gold after the resonance blast. For the first time since the link, both human and Cathari ships hovered quietly together, their weapons powered down, their sensors filled with data they could not explain. Alex Carter sat on the rocky ridge above the colony, the wind cold against his face. Lyra stood beside him, her eyes on the stars. She whispered softly, "Can you feel it?" He nodded, the golden veins beneath his skin pulsing faintly. "Yes," he said, "but it's not from you this time. Something else moved out there, beyond both species' reach, a slow vibration rolling through space like thunder under the ocean." Every satellite orbiting Erythra 5 began to lose signal one by one. The Cathari flagship reported gravitational ripples coming from deep interstellar voids. The Queen's scientist had no answer, only a warning. The frequency of the disturbance matched the new resonance pattern born from Alex and Lyra's link. Inside the colony lab, technicians watched screens fill with unreadable signals. Reeves looked pale as he turned to his crew. "This isn't natural," he muttered. "It's answering us." Lyra closed her eyes, her skin glowing faintly blue. "I hear it too," she whispered. "It's ancient." Alex felt a shiver crawl up his spine. "What do you mean, ancient?" "The void remembers," she said quietly. "Long before my people or yours, something lived in the dark between stars. It slept when the cycles began, but our resonance woke it. As night deepened, the horizon flickered with faint lights, not ships, but distortions like holes tearing in the fabric of the sky. A low hum vibrated across the planet, strong enough to rattle metal and crack glass. People stumbled from their shelters, staring upward as the stars seemed to bend. And then they saw it, a shape emerging beyond atmosphere, enormous and formless, moving like smoke yet alive. Queen Serath watched from orbit, her voice trembling for the first time in centuries. "That is no species," she said. "That is memory given shape." Her advisors bowed in fear. "It feeds on resonance, my queen. The link has drawn it here." On the surface, Alex clutched his chest, the glow beneath his skin flaring painfully. Lyra caught him before he fell, her voice urgent. "It's inside the frequency now. Using our connection as a path," he gasped. "Can we stop it?" She shook her head slowly. "Maybe we can guide it." The ground split open as a wave of energy rippled outward, lifting dust and stone into the air. For an instant, Alex saw through its vision. Endless emptiness. The birth of suns, the death of worlds. Loneliness stretching across time. The entity wasn't evil, it was hungry for awareness. Drawn to the warmth of life, he turned to Lyra, his eyes blazing gold. "It's not attacking, it's searching." Above them, the Cathari fleet prepared to fire. Blue cannons charging across 100 ships. Queen Serath's voice boomed. "If it reaches the atmosphere, all life here will burn." But Lyra's voice cut through the comms. "No, wait. If you strike it, we'll learn to hate." Alex rose unsteadily, lifting both hands toward the sky. He felt the hum deepen in his bones, matching the rhythm that had once only belonged to Lyra. Now it belonged to the universe itself. "Let me try," he said softly. "It started with us. It has to end with us." He closed his eyes, letting his heartbeat spread through the link, through Lyra, through the planet. The glow grew brighter, flooding the ridge. Then the valley, then the sky. The creature slowed, its swirling form shifting. Its darkness pierced by golden threads. Alex spoke inside his mind. Not with words, but with emotion. Calm, warmth, memory of human hope. Beside him, Lyra joined the projection, sending visions of her people's rebirth. The endless cycles of life, the void being hesitated, its form trembling like smoke in sunlight. Then it began to shrink, folding inward, its shape dissolving into a sphere of light that pulsed once, and vanished into the stars. The colony fell silent again, the hum fading. Alex collapsed, exhausted, his body trembling. Lyra caught him, tears glowing like crystal along her cheeks. "You spoke to it," she whispered. "You made it remember light?" He smiled faintly. Maybe it just needed someone to listen. From orbit, Queen Serath watched the reading stabilize, the distortion gone. Her voice was quiet when she spoke to her council. "The human has done what we could not." He touched the void without fear. She looked down at the planet, at her daughter kneeling beside him, and sighed. Perhaps the universe needed both our kinds to remember what it means to be alive. That night, no alarm sounded, no weapons fired, Only the wind moved gently across the crimson plains in the distance. The Ketheri and human flags fluttered side by side for the first time, and above them in the quiet dark, the stars pulsed faintly, like two hearts beating across the endless void. The legacy of the resonant ones. Months passed on Erythra 5, yet the memory of that golden sky still lived inside every soul. The humans rebuilt their colony with help from the Ketheri, their once separate camps now joined by shimmering energy bridges that pulsed with the rhythm of shared life. For the first time, two species worked side by side without fear, guided by the faint hum left behind by Alex and Lyra's resonance. Alex recovered slowly, though the golden glow under his skin never vanished. Doctors scanned him daily, but the readings were beyond science. His cells vibrated with patterns unseen in any human genome. He often stood on the cliffs above the valley, listening to the faint echo inside him. It was peaceful now, but alive, like the heartbeat of something larger watching over them. Lyra visited often, her steps quiet, her smile calm. "The link has settled," she told him one morning, "but it will never fade completely." He looked at her and smiled. "Neither will we." Their bond had become a bridge between worlds. Messages now flowed between Earth and the Ketheri homeworld. What began as one forbidden connection had turned into the foundation of an alliance. Children of both species studied side by side in floating academies, powered by hybrid technology born from resonance patterns. They called it the unity frequency, and it reshaped everything from medicine to starflight. But peace never comes without a shadow. Late one evening, the sky shimmered with colors only Alex could see. He felt the hum again, not from Lyra, not from the planet, but from deep within space. The same pulse that once belonged to the void now whispered faintly inside his mind. It was softer, calmer, but it was calling. Lyra sensed it too, rushing to his side. "It's the echo," she said. "The being you awakened had left a mark." He nodded slowly, understanding even before she spoke further. It connected with us and through us. It connects to everything. They stood together beneath the twin moons. The colony lights sparkled like constellations reborn. Around them, the air shimmered faintly as though invisible wings brushed the atmosphere. Alex looked up and whispered, "Do you think it's watching?" Lyra smiled gently. "No, I think it's learning." Days turned to weeks, and a new phenomenon began to appear. Plants grew faster where the resonance had touched the soil. Machines repaired themselves when exposed to the frequency. Even dreams changed. People spoke of seeing stars singing softly in the dark. Reeves recorded the data, shaking his head. "This is evolution happening in real time," he said. "We're living inside a new law of nature." Then one night, a message arrived through the deep space array. Not from a ship, but from the silence itself. It wasn't sound or light, but a pattern. A rhythm that matched two heartbeats. Alex and Lyra stood before the projection chamber as the signal took shape. A golden sphere hovered before them, pulsing softly. A voice echoed within their minds, both alien and familiar. "You taught me the meaning of warmth," it said. "Now I will carry it where light has never been." The sphere drifted upward, dissolving into a trail of gold dust that vanished beyond the clouds. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "It's leaving," she whispered. "It's going to seed the stars." Alex nodded, feeling pride swell in his chest. "Then our story won't end here," he said softly. "It'll live wherever there's darkness that needs light." From that day onward, the legend of the resonant ones spread across galaxies. Songs were written about the human who shared his heart with an alien. Temples of light rose on distant worlds, glowing faintly in the same rhythm that once joined Alex and Lyra. And within every starship that carried explorers into the unknown, a tiny pulse could be felt through the hull, the echo of two hearts beating in unison across eternity. Years later, Alex and Lyra stood once more on the ridge where it all began. The colony had become a shining city now, bridges of light stretching toward the horizon. He looked older, his hair streaked with silver, but his eyes still glowed faintly with golden fire. Lyra's form shimmered beside him, her energy calm, her presence eternal. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked quietly. He shook his head, smiling. "No. Everything that happened, even the fear, even the pain, it was worth it." She touched his hand, their light merging once more. "And when the stars forget our names?" "They won't," he said, "because every heartbeat in the sky carries a piece of us." Above them, the twin moons aligned, forming a perfect circle of light. For a moment the air sang, a low, beautiful resonance spreading across the sky. The humans below looked up, hearing it too. Children pointed, their laughter echoing through the silver valleys. Queen Sereth watched from orbit, her voice trembling for the first time in centuries. "That is no species," she said. "That is memory given shape." Her advisors bowed in fear. "It feeds on resonance, my queen. The link has drawn it here." On the surface, Alex clutched his chest, the glow beneath his skin flaring painfully. Lyra caught him before he fell, her voice urgent. "It's inside the frequency now." "Using our connection as a path," he gasped. "Can we stop it?" She shook her head slowly. "Maybe we can guide it." The ground split open as a wave of energy rippled outward, lifting dust and stone into the air. For an instant, Alex saw through its vision. Endless emptiness. The birth of suns, the death of worlds, loneliness stretching across time. The entity wasn't evil. It was hungry for awareness. Drawn to the warmth of life, he turned to Lyra, his eyes blazing gold. "It's not attacking, it's searching." Above them, the Cathari fleet prepared to fire, blue cannons charging across 100 ships. Queen Sereth's voice boomed. "If it reaches the atmosphere, all life here will burn." But Lyra's voice cut through the comms. "No, Ace, wait. If you strike, it will learn to hate." Alex rose unsteadily. Lifting both hands toward the sky, he felt the hum deepen in his bones. Matching the rhythm that had once only belonged to Lyra, now it belonged to the universe itself. "Let me try," he said softly. "It started with us. It has to end with us." He closed his eyes, letting his heartbeat spread through the link, through Lyra, through the planet. The glow grew brighter, flooding the ridge, then the valley, then the sky. The creature slowed, its swirling form shifting, its darkness pierced by golden threads. Alex spoke inside his mind, not with words, but with emotion, calm, warmth, memory of human hope. Beside him, Lyra joined the projection, sending visions of her people's rebirth. The endless cycles of life, the void being hesitated, its form trembling like smoke in sunlight. Then it began to shrink, folding inward, its shape dissolving into a sphere of light that pulsed once, and vanished into the stars. The colony fell silent again, the hum fading. Alex collapsed, exhausted, his body trembling. Lyra caught him, tears glowing like crystal along her cheeks. "You spoke to it," she whispered. "You made it remember light." He smiled faintly. Maybe it just needed someone to listen. From orbit, Queen Sereth watched the reading stabilize, the distortion gone. Her voice was quiet when she spoke to her council. "The human has done what we could not." He touched the void without fear. She looked down at the planet, at her daughter kneeling beside him, and sighed. Perhaps the universe needed both our kinds to remember what it means to be alive. That night, no alarm sounded, no weapons fired. Only the wind moved gently across the crimson plains in the distance. The Cathari and human flags fluttered side by side for the first time, and above them in the quiet dark, the stars pulsed faintly, like two hearts beating across the endless void.